What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a very special episode of ezBUCKETz. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. In today's video, I got something that I guarantee you guys are going to love, especially if you're a Chris Paul fan. When talking about this upcoming offseason, when talking about the point guard position, Chris Paul could be the best available. And with so many NBA teams trying to compete for a championship, adding Chris Paul has been proven to give you a great chance and a great leader. There are so many questions about Chris Paul when talking about this summer, and that's why for this video, we're gonna talk all about that. So if you're a big CP3 fan, you're gonna love this. But quickly before I get on with the video, I just want to say, if you're new to the channel and you love basketball, welcome to ezBUCKETz. My name is Soom and I make basketball videos every single day. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications to not miss any of my upcoming videos. If you watched this video and you loved it, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. I'll really appreciate it. It would help out the channel a lot. But without wasting any more time, let's talk about CP3.
You know, that team over there got a lot of vets, guys who've been in a lot of situations. So, excuse me, I'm proud of how we competed. You know, it's never any moral victories, but I think we can learn a lot from tonight.
Despite Chris Paul being 35 years old, he's still known as one of the best, one of the elite in the NBA. Chris Paul has built his NBA career out of reliability, out of respect, and is easily in that conversation of one of the best point guards in NBA history. Usually at the age of 35 is when a normal NBA player would show signs of decline, getting worse, but Chris Paul CP3 is nowhere in that conversation. He seems like he's getting better every year. His NBA worth is unquestioned, and it shows that when he's on an NBA team, they immediately become postseason contenders, playoff contenders. And when talking about this season, the Phoenix Suns are in that exact same position. When talking about the Suns this year, they have a record of 41-16 right now as I'm making this video, which ranks them as the second seed in the West. And without having Chris Paul last season, the Suns didn't even make the playoffs. During this past offseason, they made a blockbuster trade, trading away Ricky Rubio and Kelly Oubre in exchange for Chris Paul. I believe this was a huge win for the Phoenix Suns, as look at where they are now. They have a leader, a floor general, that is simply leading Devin Booker to a first-time playoff appearance. With the Phoenix Suns having Chris Paul on the team alongside a developing Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, the Phoenix Suns are looking like a real championship contender this year. When talking about Chris Paul this season, he's averaging 15.7 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, 8.8 assists, and 1.5 steals. And he's playing at a high efficient level, shooting about 50% at the field goal and about 93% at the free throw. Chris Paul is as efficient as ever. And as long as Chris Paul is in the NBA, whatever team he ultimately lands on, he's gonna simply bring a lot to the table when it comes to vocal leadership, playmaking, being a floor general, and also a player coach. But the biggest question when talking about this offseason is Chris Paul's contract. He'll be entering the summer with a $44 million player option. From what we are thinking, $44 million for one NBA season is a lot of money. We don't expect Chris Paul to opt out. We expect him to opt in, but when talking about the NBA, anything could happen. Chris Paul could change his mind. And that's why for this video, we're going to be talking about the possibility and scenario that Chris Paul opts out of his contract and talking about teams that I believe should try to get him as soon as possible. The first team on this list is the Los Angeles Lakers, and Chris Paul has been linked to the Lakers for a very long time now. A fun fact to know is that 10 years ago, when Kobe Bryant and Dwight Howard was on the Lakers were about to get Chris Paul, but ultimately the NBA shut it down. It didn't happen. But when talking about Chris Paul, joining LeBron James and Anthony Davis, it's actually quite possible, and there are so many reasons why it can happen. When talking about last offseason, when Chris Paul requested a trade from OKC, he actually said the Lakers were one of his preferred destinations. And with so many super teams forming, such as the Brooklyn Nets, LeBron and Anthony Davis wouldn't mind a third superstar of Chris Paul to simply bring the Lakers to a whole nother level. From what we know about LeBron James and Chris Paul, these two have such a strong relationship, and that relationship could potentially form a team up. Throughout their long NBA careers, they have never played on the same NBA roster, and we could finally see it happen during the ending stages of their careers. And with the Lakers trying to be competitive as long as LeBron is on the roster, oh boy, Chris Paul would definitely increase their chances. But the biggest question when talking about Chris Paul to the Lakers is what will the Lakers first do with Dennis Schroeder? When talking about this season, the Lakers actually offered Dennis Schroeder a 4-year $85 million contract that he ultimately declined. And if the Lakers ultimately part ways with Dennis Schroeder, offering Chris Paul that contract, I wouldn't be surprised if Paul takes it. It locks him in for 4 years at a good reasonable price. I do believe Chris Paul is a superstar point guard. He is worth more than that, but of course, age has to be considered in this next contract extension, which is why a 4-year $85 million, it makes sense for CP3, as he's made a lot of money in the past, and right now, taking whatever he gets might be his mindset. With Chris Paul and LeBron James' leadership, and Anthony Davis being the elite player he is, the Lakers would simply be unstoppable with this big three. The next team on this list is talking about the Los Angeles Clippers, and that's Chris Paul going to the NBA team that I would say basically made who he is today. I would say Chris Paul in his prime is during the Lob City days in LA with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, and with the city of LA always being linked to Chris Paul, this upcoming summer, they have a good amount of money they can offer CP3. When talking about the Clippers roster, the biggest concern Clippers fans have is who can be their dominant superstar point guard. They failed with Beverly, they failed with Lou Will, and so far they're testing out Rondo. But when talking about Chris Paul, he is better and 100% proven to bring this Clippers team to a whole nother level. The Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George alone are simply amazing, are simply almost unbeatable, but getting CP3 to be the playmaker, the floor general, he's definitely more vocal than both of them. The Clippers would be a lot better. Imagine a starting lineup of Chris Paul, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, maybe Marcus Morris, and then Serge Ibaka, with players like Patrick Beverly and Zubac off the bench. I do believe this team would simply be better than they are this year. We've seen it so many times in the past where Chris Paul and Kawhi Leonard teamed up during the NBA All-Star Game, and from what we've seen, that duo would be great. Kawhi can be the go-to scorer, while CP3 can be the go-to facilitator. The next team on this list is talking about the Dallas Mavericks, and that's talking about Chris Paul joining Luka and Kristaps Porzingis. The best part about CP3 going to Dallas is that it would give him the same opportunity as he did in Phoenix and in OKC. And that opportunity is simply turning a good team into a great elite team. The biggest conversation about the Mavericks is always who's going to be the third star that can help Luka and Porzingis develop. And with CP3 being known as the leader, a floor general that can develop young stars, Luka could simply be next. When talking about this season, the Mavericks are doing pretty well. They are playoff bound, but I believe with Luka and Porzingis being better than Booker and Aiden, the Dallas Mavericks with Chris Paul, the Mavericks could be at the top of the Western Conference. The Mavericks have been linked to so many superstars when it comes to free agency, and it is no secret they want a leader to build a big three, and that's where Chris Paul fits right in, alongside Luka. I'm pretty sure Mark Cuban would love this. When talking about this upcoming offseason, the Mavericks are getting about $35 million in cap space, which means they could possibly offer Chris Paul a 3-year, $100 million deal. If Chris Paul wants money, this could be the answer. Mark Cuban is known as a GM that makes big, bold moves, and getting Chris Paul to a big salary, the Mavericks will certainly go back into championship contention. But the last team on this list that I do believe Chris Paul will join is possibly re-signing with the Phoenix Suns for maybe about 2 more years. If Chris Paul ultimately opts out of the Suns player option, I do believe re-signing with them for maybe a 2-year, $60 million deal, that scenario is not out of the occasion. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Monty Williams, the head coach, is getting used to Chris Paul. And with Chris Paul currently at the ending stages of his career, maybe retiring as a Phoenix Sun, helping Devin Booker become the superstar we all want him to be might be a great thing for Chris Paul to do on his way out. The biggest rumor right now is Chris Paul opting in to his $44 million player option, but if he ultimately opts out, re-signing with the Suns isn't out of the picture. So yeah guys, this wraps up my video for today, talking about Chris Paul and his free agent destinations and the rumors we're hearing about him. What's most important to me is one of your thoughts. What do you believe Chris Paul will do? What do you believe Chris Paul should do? Put your thoughts down in the comments below. But other than that, take it easy, God bless, and I'll see you all next time on ezBUCKETz. Woo!